Fighting and eliminating child labour will require sizable investments from both governments and the private sector. And access to credit and other financial services in affected communities is required just as much. The European Union Commission has already pledged more than 168 million rands towards this cause.
We have the target of spending 10% of our budget now in this new financial perspective for education. And clearly the link with the fight with child labour here is clear. And this is something that could also leverage and contributing to ensure that children will go to school and will not end up in the fields or in the mines at work over there. Now, how do we use ODA to eliminate child labour? We use it in different forms. Of course, we support our partner country directly with budget support program, because sometimes you need to enhance in the country your capacity building, labour inspections, or even have technical assistance to really see how you can mobilise domestic resources to devote it to child labour, but much more broader than child labour, to social protection and to developing really the necessary labour policy and labour structure.
The stagnation in progress against child labour stems in part from inadequacies related to financing. ILO says the member states have increasingly adopted national action plans on child labour as the main policy instrument to tackle child labour. However, in some cases, they are not sufficiently resourced.
In 2018, we really strengthened our focus on issues of child labor with a separate standard as part of the new environmental and social framework that was introduced in October 2018. We introduced a specific standard on labor and working conditions in which child labor is at the core of that. So this is now a requirement for each and every project that the World Bank supports. And all our dialogue with our client countries and partners on the ground, when discussing our support for any project, child labor is now a required topic to be discussed, and assurances to be obtained that the development intervention will do everything it can to help address, reduce, and eliminate child labor.
We are seeing, certainly in countries like Kenya, the emergent middle-income countries, and there are more and more of them, we are seeing the traditional development partners downsizing and disengaging. COVID was perhaps the start of it. The war in Ukraine is perhaps a continuation of it. And so we're faced with both a challenge, but I also think it's a deep opportunity of moving to very different forms of financing for our sustainable development objectives.
The ILO says official development assistance, or ODAs, remain crucial as a catalytic source of financing, especially for the least developed economies. It points out, though, that in recent years, ODA allocated target 8.7 of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which calls for eradicating forced and child labour, has dropped. Diabo Seto, SABC News, Durban.